Hi everyone, Sophie here. So we are coming to you with episode 4 of the Female Solopreneur Series. And today we've got Sabi Kerr, who's going to be joining us. Oh look, there she is. And we're going to be having an Instagram Live all about self-love in business. So I'm just going to accept Sabi's request.
Hey, can you?
This is the awkward part.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
She's just coming in. So yeah, we've got about 25 minutes for today, and we're going to be talking all about women in business who work on their own and how the impact of self-love in their business can both have positive impacts and negative impacts as well. Just looks like she's joining. Hopefully she'll be able to connect. Fingers crossed. Hi Claudia. Hi Miriam. Doesn't look like it's connecting at the moment. You guys will just have me for a while. I think she's going to try and join again. So I think Sabi's on the other line. So if you want to try and join again, Sabi. Loving all the little waves. Okay. So going live again. Hopefully it's going to work this time. So yeah, if you're a female solopreneur and you work on your own, then
Hey. I'm not sure what just happened.
to me before.
No, me neither. You were just like a black screen. I was like, oh.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you, and thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, and thanks for joining. I've been so looking forward to this chat, actually. Oh, it says there that the sound's a bit dodgy.
Your sound's a little dodgy. Is my? Can you hear me? Okay.
It's connected to my Bluetooth. One sec. Is that better?
Yeah, so much
Yay!
better.
I didn't even realise I was like surround sound through my Bluetooth speaker. Thank you for the shout out, everybody. So welcome, Sabi.
Thank you.
Yay, and welcome everybody who's listening, whether it's live or on the replay. So this is a Female Solopreneur Series. I think we're on episode 4 now, and this is just this has been an Instagram Live series that I've done over the last few weeks, and it was really prompted by a number of things, but kind of, you know, a desire to have certain things of my own answered as a female solopreneur, because I work on my own as well. And all these subjects of self-love and Instagram marketing and self-care and all of the things we've been talking about, I think are particularly important right now, obviously with mainland UK being in lockdown and it just being quite a challenging time. Not to mention how challenging working on your own is just at all times. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for me to share stuff on my platform from people like you, Sabi, who hopefully you'll get to connect with everyone who I'm connected with now as well. Yeah, so yeah, we've got about 25 minutes for our chat today. And I'll sort of introduce you in a moment, Sabi. But our conversation is all about self-love in business. And so this is something I see so many female solopreneurs that I coach dealing with on the mindset side, and the impact that it can have the negative impact it can have can be really detrimental to your business. And on the flip side, if you're aware of it and you're doing the work and you are cultivating self-love, it can have such positive impact. So I'm really excited to chat with you today about all of the tips and hacks you've got. So yeah, this is Sabi, and she's a life coach and yoga teacher, and she supports people to connect with the best version of themselves, to step into their power and to create a life they love.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to dive into this topic. One of my favorites, how self-love impacts business. It's everything.
Yeah, it is. It's really the foundation of it, isn't it? So let's dive straight in, and let's go to how would you describe what self-love is specifically in relation to business?
And I really want to make it clear right from the start that this is not like a fluffy, can kind of look at it. If you're a business owner, you can't skip over this piece, because you can't implement any of your business strategies if you are stuck in imposter syndrome, if you are stuck not feeling as good as the other, whatever type of entrepreneur you are, if you are stuck in feeling like your work has to be absolutely perfect, if you're so blocked in comparison, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, not knowing if you can charge enough, like, these are self-love issues. These are issues of not being fully in your power and embracing who you are, and that is then impacting how you show up in your business. So it's like, these are real things that are not like light and fluffy, let's take a bubble bath and feel all right. So yeah, it impacts how we show up in our business in so many ways.
Yeah, I think it's really important to connect it with that strategy piece, because you can have, you know, strategy until the cows come home. Like, you can know everything you need to know about business, but if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe you're worthy, or you know, value the services that you're offering, then you won't be able to make that connection. And you know, we've both probably seen this, but it's such a disconnect for women in business when they don't believe in themselves enough, because it stops them being able to help people, which is why they want to do their business.
Yeah, absolutely. They can't even get their message out, because even standing up and sharing the message feels scary.
Yeah.
So it stops you from doing the very thing that you're actually here to do.
Yeah. So you use the word stuck a lot, obviously, and it seems to be quite a blocker for lots of women in business. And I would love actually just a really quick insight, because you mentioned there a few descriptive words like comparison and perfectionism and imposter syndrome. Are they the sort of like labels, I guess, that you would associate with self-love in business?
Yeah, I mean, they're, you know, self-sabotaging behaviors, let's say, that stop us from just showing up as us.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're common, and most of us are going to experience all of these things at some point in time, and like, that's fine. But it's the key piece is to really know that that's going on, and to not let the imposter syndrome or the comparison like be in control. You know, you are in control. You get to choose whether you're going to listen to that voice of the inner critic or not. So yeah, the awareness that that's not actually you is super important.
Yeah, I almost see that as step one, and that's the power of the work that you do, and, you know, coaching, is that it helps people to recognize that actually the thought patterns that they have and the behavioral patterns, actually it's not necessarily normal, and it's something that's not serving them, and those are things that can be changed. They're not set with them for life.
Yeah, absolutely. They can totally be changed, and that is within our power to change the way we think and feel about things.
Yes, love that. Yeah, so I think there's probably quite a few triggers there for people in terms of, oh, you know, I'm dealing with that, and that's something that's coming up for me, and maybe they hadn't given it the label of self-love before. There's so many different ways to talk about this, isn't there? You know, mindset, self-love, self-care, and so many different labels. So it's great that I think that we're able to have different conversations in different contexts, and it can just raise the awareness around it. What would you say can be the impact to women in their businesses if they do work on improving their self-love and really make that a focus?
Yeah, like everything. Because what kind of businesses are the women that you're working with?
Oh, so all different types. And so they are just starting out with the very beginning seed of an idea. They're side hustling and they're wanting to take the next step, or they are fully self-employed. A range of businesses, lots of women in the wellness space, online businesses, a range.
Yeah. And so lots of the time, especially if you're starting an online business, and especially with the women that you work with, like, it is just them. And for many of them, they might have a business where they are their brand. And even more so, if you are the face of your brand, you are everything to your business, and your energy around how you show up, how you talk about your offers, how you show up on social media, in your stories, in your Instagram posts, all of that is impacted by how you feel about you, by how confident that you feel, by how worthy you feel of taking up space in this industry, by how worthy you feel of the truth that, yes, I am an expert in this industry and I deserve to be here. Like, all of that piece impacts your ability to then show up and speak like the expert that you are, rather than someone that's scared to take up space. So totally shifts the energy perspective. How you talk to people, how you write your posts, especially during, if you're doing a launch, if you're a coach, or you have a program that's starting on a set date, your communication of that totally shifts when you're fully behind you, and you know that you deserve to be there.
Yeah, I think that's so important, particularly in the online space as well, where we're having to put ourselves out there through our social media channels, and there is such what I see so often as women in businesses, they know how to deliver their service and they're incredible at what they do, but there is this lack of self-belief when it comes to being able to, like you said, show up and being seen on Instagram, let's just say. That can be quite scary. And so I think it's so important to underline everything you're saying, that it starts with self-love and self-belief, and everything else sort of blossoms from there.
Absolutely. And like, having an online business, especially one, and this is not for everyone, but if it's a service-based business where you are your brand, that is a work of showing up and letting yourself be seen. So much of your work is allowing yourself to be seen, to take up space, to be heard. And all of that is like inner work, that is not business strategy. That is you standing in your power and knowing that you deserve to be there. So yeah, it's so big.
Yeah. On that, just because it feels like the right flow to ask this next question is, how can people work on their self-love then? What are the steps that they can take if they are sort of watching this and thinking, actually, do you know what? I probably need to work on this. What could they do?
So I always like to say, and it's a reminder for everyone and myself, that this is an ongoing journey and something that we get to practice every day, every single day. And there are little mini practices that you can do, like mirror work and affirmations, and the things that you're wanting to feel. Like, how do you really want to feel about your business? You want to feel like an expert, you want to feel worthy of being able to charge X price, you want to be able to speak really confidently on sales calls, whatever it is, creating almost like a little mirror work script and something for you to practice saying, either in your head or out loud in front of the mirror, writing it down. Like, all of those things are little like practices that I really encourage you to do. But don't just stop there. Like, the most important thing with this work is to take the action that scares you the most. Because we shift things from actually taking action. So I always say, like, for people that have fear of showing up online, I often give a challenge of like 1 week every day, show up on Instagram stories, totally unfiltered, leave all of the mistakes in, whatever the mistakes are, like totally imperfect, as a practice of letting go of having to be anything other than how you are right now. And that's often really, really powerful.
That's so practical as well. And I totally agree that when it comes to fear, the best antidote is action. And if you're able to just do the thing, and you know, whether you've got an accountability buddy or your coach or a friend who's there to, you know, to help you along the way, and to hold you accountable to actually doing it, that can sometimes give you that extra boost. And then you do it and you think, oh, okay, it wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah.
And you get really lovely feedback and you connect with people. And you always have to be prepared for people not liking your work, but that's part and parcel of the journey of putting yourself out there online. But predominantly you'll just get love and great feedback, hopefully. So that's really good advice, taking the action and the mirror work, the affirmations. So, you know, you're the expert in this space, so it may well be something like super similar, but how would you describe self-worth? And on that, after sort of the description, what would you say are the warning signs for somebody who perhaps is suffering from low self-worth?
Yeah, so I see self-love as an all-encompassing term, really, to kind of mean like accepting you as you are right now, you know, a continuous journey of coming home to you, of being with you, of loving you, of you know, prioritizing yourself, checking in with your needs. So like for me, self-love is a really big, broad term. And so is self-worth. But self-worth is more this piece of feeling good enough, you know, knowing that you are enough as you are right now. And that is self-love too, you know.
Yeah.
So that is self-love too. And I think whenever it comes to definitions, I'm always quite open, because the beauty of self-love work is like you get to choose what it means for you. But yeah, self-worth is really a state where you know you're enough right now, and you know you're always enough.
Yeah.
And sorry, the second part of the question was,
so yeah, what might
signs
the warning,
that it might not, the warning signs.
Yeah.
Really tying your worth to your work. You know, a client says no to you and you'll feel like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be here, there's something wrong with me. Same thing if lots of people unsubscribe from your mailing list, or a post doesn't do very well and you thought it was going to do great, or you lose followers or whatever, like tying the impact of like other people to your worth, rather than being like, I'm good enough, what I'm doing is amazing, I'm not going to be for everyone, and that's okay, the people that are for me will be here. And so that's really tying your worth to your work and being really, really impacted by things not going so well. And that's also like, I want to say it's common, you know, it's okay if that's you, but know that that's something really, really powerful to work on.
Yeah, I think it's a shift, and it's gaining the awareness, like we said before, and understanding that actually that thought pattern isn't serving you. And I do think it is really difficult and hard and common for women who work on their own particularly, but also if you're in the online space, because there's this specific, all these very specific sort of numbers that you're working with, Instagram followers, how many likes that you get, how many shares, how many comments. And yeah, it is a combination of, you know, sometimes it's the strategy that may need to be tweaked, and the way that you're communicating, and there's strategic aspects to, you know, building an engaged community. But it's, I guess, those emotional feelings and that attachment, and not having the separation from the outcomes of your post with how you feel afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a minefield. So yeah, I think it's a case of experience and getting used to that. And it's like how you're defining success, I guess, as well. And it's sure some of the sort of definitions of your success and the measures of it may be linked to growth of your Instagram, your execution of your marketing strategy, whatever it is, but it needs to be blended with so many others, like how fulfilled you feel, how much of a difference you're making, you know, any connection that you feel with the work that you do, things like that.
Totally, totally. I love that you said that. Yeah, it can't just be about numbers. It can't just be, I'm worthy if I have this many followers, or I'm worthy if I'm making that much money a month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so totally.
Yeah, and I felt that, you know, there's been periods in my business where I've made no sales for months and I felt rubbish, and then I've got a sale and I felt normal and fine again, and that's not how I want to be. That's not okay. That's not how I want to be in my business. So it's something that I've had to work on for sure. Okay, so what are some tips that you would provide around women who work on their own to tapping into and starting to believe in themselves more?
Yeah. Got a few different things. Definitely, I'd encourage finding a supportive community, because there's nothing quite like seeing that other women that are doing similar work are support, not competition. And that really shifts how you see comparison as well, rather than, oh, there's another woman that's doing similar work to me and she's doing better than me. Wow, she's doing amazingly, that's showing me what I can do as well. So if you don't already have anyone in your life that's doing similar work, I'd really encourage you even to, like, you know, start some Instagram friendships. I've had that quite a few times, you know, women that I've been commenting on their posts, them on my posts, and start chatting a little bit in the DMs. And it can be a really, really supportive way of knowing that you're not alone in this as a solopreneur, you know.
Yeah.
So definitely something like that. And giving yourself permission to have those moments where you're not feeling so good, but continuing to show up, you know, regardless, knowing that those moments are always temporary. And like, self-love is such a daily commitment to showing up for you. So really it's like almost a boring tip, but just like keep going, you know.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep showing up, keep speaking your truth, keep using your voice, keep sharing your message with the world, keep saying the same thing again and again and again as well.
Yeah, that repetition and consistency is so valuable, and I've seen it with my clients and myself when I have dipped and not shown up because I've allowed the negative thought patterns and the feelings of unworthiness to overcome me or them. It's sort of like a vicious cycle, because then when you're not showing up and being consistent, things continue to drop off. And that's the nature of modern business, is that the marketing is pretty has to be pretty consistent, and you do have to, you know, it's a busy world and you have to serve your community and, you know, keep getting yourself out there so people know who you are, which is a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. It's a continuous daily thing.
Yeah. So I think this has come up, but a couple of things that are quite common are the limiting beliefs of women who are working on their own, and how they hold them back, and also the imposter syndrome piece as well. And I just wanted to speak to those two specifically to see if you've got any insights or tips for us on them.
Yeah, I mean, limiting beliefs is a massive topic in itself. So I'm trying to think of some brief summary tips. You know, firstly, just knowing that limiting beliefs are there kind of for your protection and to keep you safe. They're there to stop you from taking the big, bold risks that are going to move you forwards, because taking those risks, showing up online, sharing your message, launching your offers, like all of those things are scary, especially when it's your first time, because you face fear of rejection, fear of no one buying, fear of people judging you if you're starting that new business. So those limiting beliefs are there to protect you. So it's like a really beautiful acknowledgement of like, thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I don't need you, you know, I don't need you. Like, I know that this is a limiting belief and not my truth. And in business, like in this context, some common limiting beliefs might be ones like, I need to wait until my website is like totally perfect before I press publish, you know, that like everything needs to be totally perfect first. Or I can't charge this price, I'll be rejected, no one will buy. I need way more experience before I can talk about what I do. You know, I need way more followers before I can start selling. Like, all of these things are actually limiting beliefs. And so, yeah, I guess a tip is to actually acknowledge that that's a limiting belief that's there to try and protect you and keep you safe, rather than an actual truth.
Grab some water.
I was actually at the end of my sentence, so it's
Good. Yeah, I think the limiting beliefs piece is it's the, again, it seems like a bit of theme here is the awareness, because you can just have those beliefs but not realize them. So I used to have one a couple of years ago where I just assumed and believed that people don't want to buy coaching or invest in coaching in the lead up to Christmas, because you know, wherever that belief came from. And the difficult thing is like, when you have those beliefs, they prevent you from taking the action. So I sort of scaled things back. I wasn't putting myself out there. I wasn't trying to, you know, get any new clients, and so I didn't get any. So they become self-fulfilling prophecies. And so you know, the awareness piece is the most important aspect. And I know limiting beliefs can be in relation to, there's a few different types, aren't there? You know, in relation to yourself, beliefs about yourself and your value or your skill set, or, you know, the demographic group that you're in. Like, I'm too young to be able to be a business owner, or I'm too old to be able to set up an online business. All these things hold us back as women. So yeah, that's so important to be aware, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Imposter syndrome, anything on that you've come with your clients?
Imposter syndrome is really a limiting belief of like, who am I to do this? You know, it's the limiting belief that might look like, who am I to do this? I don't have enough experience yet. There are all these other people that have been here for years that know way more than me. How can I take up space in this industry? So really, it's just another limiting belief that can be worked through in the same way. But it's a really, really big one for entrepreneurship, because especially when you're starting, it's really scary. And there are people that have been doing it for a long time that look like experts. So it's quite easy to feel like an imposter when you're brand new, especially when it's an online business, when you're scrolling Instagram and probably most of the people you follow are like people that you're looking up to in this work.
Yeah, exactly. Because you tend to, I follow loads of coaches, and sometimes I think, oh my gosh, it's so saturated, nobody's going to want to work with me, like, why me? Or they're doing it so well, why would anybody even think to look at me? And the thing is, you have to start somewhere. Every single one of those other people who you've seen who are killing it now, they started at the beginning too. And so the imposter syndrome can be so toxic. And meanwhile, you're actually amazing at what you do, and you are the expert, and you can help so many people. I think that's the sad thing about imposter syndrome. It prevents you from being able to help others.
It prevents you from being able to help others. It stops you from sharing what you have to share right now. You know, and that's my key thing that I always say is like, share what you have now, serve the people that are already in front of you. you don't get more followers unless you actually start doing the work now, you know? So yeah, absolutely.
Vicious cycle needs to be interrupted.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. We've come to the end of that. Went so quickly, and
yeah, wow.
technical issues at the beginning, but we managed to get through it. So just as a final thing, are there any other top tips, resources, or any other insights that you would provide on self-love and business topic?
Yeah, definitely. Like, continue this practice of imperfect action, and in however that looks for you. Drop the need for things to be perfect, and let yourself, and this is kind of more practical, but let yourself, your true self, really be seen. Like, let your personality come across, because people want to know you, like you, and trust you before they buy, right? So your personality and your unique quirks are everything. And sometimes I've worked with women who are wanting to get into coaching or this similar kind of work, and they've got all the certifications and all of the bits of paper, and there's this feeling that they have to be super professional, you know, that they can't show their humanness to be an expert in their field, when actually it's your humanness that makes people buy from you. It's your humanness that allows people to relate to you.
Yeah.
And like, that is your secret sauce.
Yeah.
Like, your uniqueness is your unique selling point.
Yeah.
So actually allowing that to be seen is like the number one most important thing that we can do as online business owners.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Yeah, so continue the practice of imperfection and dropping the need for things to be perfect and letting the real you shine. You know, ironically, nobody ever asks me about my qualifications. I've got them,
right.
and it helps me to deliver an amazing coaching service, but that's not what it's about, is it?
Totally. Yeah, it's like great to have them, and it's important to have them, and it also helps us feel like we know what we're doing. But from the lens of people deciding to buy from us, like, it's not about that at all. Yeah.
It's about, and just the final point on that is what makes me think of is that it is very busy in Instagram and social media, and there is a lot of noise. So when you are able to just be yourself, that's number one, it's the easiest. You don't have to force it, and people will connect with that, and it's about cultivating that self-belief that they will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Oh, so Sabi, how can people get hold of you?
Yeah, over on my Instagram is probably the easiest. So it's just my name, sabi.kerr. I love a good DM, so drop me a DM, let me know your takeaways if you're interested in my work. I also have one-to-one coaching and also a group program called Release Your Radiance, which is like my group program on all things tapping into your self-worth and really standing in your power, taking up space.
Oh, I love it. We'll definitely get in touch with Sabi, and if you've got any questions or feedback on this specific live, then definitely just comment and Sabi and I can come back to you. But thank you so much for your energy and for your time, Sabi. It's like really important work that you do, so thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.